ESPN's Championship Week, presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. The next of 14 automatic NCAA bids to be handed out today alone comes from the Mid-American Conference. It's the MAC title game here in Cleveland. The Bulls of Buffalo take on the Chippewas of Central Michigan. Bob Wischusen here alongside LaFonso Ellis. And we have what you'd want in a championship game. The top two teams in the league make it to Cleveland to take on one another to see who goes to the NCAA tournament. Now, what is at stake for these two teams? Well, Central Michigan, they haven't been to the tournament since 2003. Buffalo, they've never been to the NCAA tournament, although, according to Joe Lunardi, they're still technically on the bubble as part of the next four out. This really is a win and you're in game. The loser will be in the NIT. And Fonz, Bobby Hurley, he's got the player of the league and the player of the year in the MAC in Justin Moss, but hobbled with a bone bruise on his ankle.
Yeah, rolled that ankle on Wednesday. They're going to need his best tonight. Limited to 5 points last night. They need him to be big tonight.
Keno Davis always seems to have great guards to run his up-tempo style. And Chris Fowler, first team All-MAC, is just that.
He's been red hot, 20 points per game over the last 3. Going to have to limit his possessions to keep him from impacting this game.
Central Michigan was able to beat Toledo last night, pulling away late, 75-66, but it was Buffalo that was really in the war of the two games. They got by Akron 68-59, but not nearly a final score that indicates how close that game was. That was a battle all the way down to the last minute.
It was both teams getting after each other, but tonight you're going to see a lot of man-to-man from both teams. Interested to see if they double-team Justin Moss on the box.
Braylon Rayson takes the shot clock on the first possession of the game, down under 5. Shaking and baking, rises up for 3. That comes up short, and it might be a one-and-done kind of night for the Chippewas. They shoot a ton of threes, and they are not a strong rebounding team.
Not a great rebounding team, and for Buffalo, they have to get out and push the pace. The #1 team in the league in terms of pace at 69 possessions per game.
And the player that you want to watch is number 23 in blue and black, and that's Moss, spinning and losing it on the way up with Xavier Ford. But Xavier Ford will now go to the free throw line. And what a job Bobby Hurley has done at Buffalo in his second season, the fastest coach in the history of the Bulls program to get to 40 wins. He was on his brother Danny's staff at Rhode Island and Wagner before becoming a head coach for the first time, but also had a playing career that you might have heard about.
Just a little bit. This team is coming to this game red hot. They've won 7 straight games, and again, they do it with pushing pace. And this guy at the line last night had a huge night for the Bulls on a night where they really needed him to score the basketball because their best player and player of the year, Justin Moss, been hobbled by an ankle injury.
And of course, Bobby Hurley played for his father in high school at St. Anthony's. Bob Hurley Sr., arguably the most legendary coach in the history of New Jersey high school basketball. As Fowler gets to the rim, comes up short. Justin Moss has the ball. Let's keep our eyes on 23 and see how he's moving. If you notice, maybe he's a little more spry tonight than he was last night, as he was not able to have any spring in his step at all. Knocking down a 3 is 4.
And that's a shot that Ford can make. He doesn't shoot a whole lot of them, but he's been shooting them with great confidence as of late. This is a Buffalo Bulls team that's going to switch 1 through 5. Whoever you find Moss on, I think, has an advantage. You got to drive him.
Simons for 3. That's good. Knocking it down is John Simons.
And that's exactly what we were talking about. Moss ended up that time on Chris Fowler. Chris dribble drive, forcing a little help, which created that open alley for the 3.
John Simons shoots 46% from 3, number 5 in America. Traveling called on Jared Skeet. Central Michigan likes to shoot it from deep. That's obviously a hallmark of Keno Davis's teams, but they take it to an extreme, as there's only 7 teams in Division I that average more points from behind the arc collectively than they do.
Wow, look at that deep one.
And it goes down again. 2 for 2 is Simons, and that gives the Chippewas the lead.
And folks, Buffalo must keep this Central Michigan team under 10 made threes per game. This team hit them for 16 in their first meeting.
Lamont Lamonte Bearden tries one. He's got it.
Going under that ball screen, which is exactly what you should do against a guy who shoots 25% from the three-point line. Buffalo will take that shot from him. They do not want him getting in the gaps with his speed. Interesting matchup here. They have Xavier Ford, 35, who's 6'7", and a power forward starting out from Fowler.
Fowler out of control down the lane, flips a prayer up, and it's answered. Skeet tries a three. In and out, rolls along the top of the backboard. And it made contact with the stanchion, the shot clock behind, so it's out of bounds.
That's Chris Fowler get down in the lane, little shot fake and falling down. And the beauty of it is he kept his eyes on the backboard the entire time, and that's exactly what you should do. Since Dan Dockich is in studio, keep that chin on the rim. It'll go in most of the time.
Dan Dockich was a Buffalo champion this season. He was a guy that was looking at the Bulls and the effort that they put forth against not only Kentucky, but also Wisconsin, as maybe an under-the-radar team that could sneak into the NCAA tournament, although Joe Lunardi right now, as we showed you, has them in the next 4 out. So right now, even Joey Brackets has them as a far cry from being in Dayton.
It's a good pick by Dan. I love their balance. Terrific guard play. They have speed, bigs on the inside, and this guy, 35 in black here, 6'7", extreme athlete.
A little old school floater goes down for Rayshawn Simmons.
Because Buffalo is switching all the ball screens right now, it's going to force Central Michigan to have to make plays one-on-one. Simmons did a phenomenal job of taking his time and beating the big off the bounce.
Shannon Evans left alone. Yes.
Going to have to make an adjustment, Central Michigan, and stop going underneath those ball screens right now. Buffalo is lighting up from the three-point line. Good kick.
The pass deflected and stolen by Skeet. Lays it in, and that gives the Bulls the lead. Back the other way, not wasting any time is Simmons. That's too strong, and the rebound to Shannon Evans.
If this game continues to play at this pace, it plays in the hands of Buffalo. This is their style.
Long rebound off the Evans miss is corralled by the Bulls. They've got a fresh shot clock.
Thought they got away with a foul right there. Deron Scott, 23 in white, was fouled as he was reaching to grab that basketball.
Simmons, or rather Fowler, picks the pocket of Bearden and lays it in.
Bearden, being a freshman, is playing around and yo-yoing with the basketball. A veteran player in Fowler counting his bounces and takes it from him.
And it looks like the right hand of Lamonte Bearden was injured on that last play as we're tied at 12 early.
Exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Dick's Sporting Goods. Sport begs of you this one simple question: who will you be? And GMC, we are professional grade.
Tied at 12 early here in Cleveland in the MAC championship game. Bob Wischusen, LaFonso Ellis watching a high-paced start between Buffalo and Central Michigan. And Fonz, look, you're Fighting Irish. They want to win the ACC. The power conference teams want to win their conference tournament. There's a different kind of pressure on the kids playing in this game tonight. This really is going to be a one-bid league this year in the MAC. The winner plays in the tournament. The loser does not.
I think the pressure really is on Central Michigan. They're the #1 seed. Everyone expects them to win tonight. And you've seen early this Buffalo team has come out and played very loosely. A team that doesn't shoot a lot of threes. Buffalo has come out and drilled a few earlier in this game. 3 made threes for the Bulls.
Wigginton turns it over. Here comes Fowler. Leans in, draws the foul. And that will go against Jared Skeet.
Tell you, after watching Chris Fowler, 15 in white last night, when he gets you on the retreat, he is terrific at taking away your angle, getting the chest on you and trying to attack the rim. Does a really nice job getting to the foul line. Second in the MAC in free throw attempts at 6 per game. That's impressive for a guard.
And leads the MAC in assists as well as being a top 10 scorer. So he hurts you in every statistical column.
hurt his right thumb early in the year against Bowling Green, but still went out for 42 points. He's still wearing that little brace on his hand. If you look at his right hand there, he's got a little bit of tape on that thing, and certainly hasn't limited his ability to put it in the bucket.
It didn't seem to bother him last night, the semifinal game, when he had 26 points, 5 assists, and 5 rebounds against Toledo.
Well, you talk about elevating your game at the end of the year. This kid is 20 points per game over the last 3 and absolutely been drilling it. 53% from the field as well. And that is a high number for a perimeter player. Nice trap.
Nice backdoor cut for a dunk. Justin Moss gets the assist as Wigginton got loose on the baseline. Great vision from Justin Moss.
That is terrific read. You want to be patient, and if you can get a pass out of it, you have numbers on the backside and able to find Rodell Wigginton cutting to the basket.
Simons draws the foul. So now Simons, who shoots 84% at the line, he's already made 2 threes, and now he'll shoot 3.
What a smart play by John Simons. With the new rule, those guys are flying at you that way, and if you make any contact, it's going to be a foul. Because of his ability to knock down the three-point shot, 46% on the year, really makes you charge at him. If he catches you off balance, he does exactly what he did there.
Bobby Hurley thinks that should have been a 2-shot foul. They may go to the monitor to see whether or not he had a foot on the line. Now Bill X going to come over and talk to Mike Sanzier. Sanzier had the foul call, and it looked initially as if he had signaled 3 free throws. Now they may have changed it to 2, and it looked like that was the argument from Hurley. And now Mike Sanzier signals over to the scorer's table. Yes, it is a 2-shot foul. Check that. It is a 3-shot foul.
Because I thought he was almost NBA kind of deep behind that one, and when he stepped to draw the contact.
That was my mistake. When Mike Sanzier put up 2 fingers over the scorer's table, I think what he was signaling was he's got 2 shots left.
Yeah. You'll see this little kind of token pressure here from Central Michigan, and at times they'll come and trap as they did on the last possession, and they're doing it to slow down the Buffalo Bulls because they know that the Bulls want to play with a high pace. Trying to control the tempo here. Nice pass.
And the reverse inside Will Regan. Another assist for Justin Moss. That's his second in as many trips.
Whew. Thought he was going to let that one raise.
That was a heat check there for John Simons that he passed on. He'll shoot it from outside the NBA three-point line, though.
You know what I love about him? A lot of three-point shooters don't rebound the basketball because they don't like to stick their nose in it. That kid is averaging 6 rebounds a game.
Traveling called on Stewart. Austin Stewart commits the second turnover for the Chippewas.
It is amazing as a player when you catch that basketball, don't make a quick move, how many times it leads to a poor shot or a turnover. With this lineup in right now, you don't have a real post presence for Buffalo, so the guards are going to have to get some paint touches off the dribble drive.
Evans a head fake and a drive. A little too strong off the glass, but a foul called, and that's going to go against Blake Hibbets of Central Michigan. Both of these teams, as you would expect, are really careful with the basketball, but it's also surprising that both teams have guards that can play at such a high pace and yet not turn it over. It seems like it's a furious pace up and down the floor, and yet in the semifinal games, Buffalo only committed 8 turnovers. Central Michigan only turned the ball over 5 times against Toledo in 40 minutes.
That's phenomenal.
That straightaway 3 won't go for Evans. And the rebound is pulled down by Luke Meyer, the freshman.
Buffalo can't fall in love with the jump shot. Got to attack like that.
Nice flip by Fowler.
You must locate Fowler. You know he wants to get to the basket because he's not a great shooter. You got to pick him up and force him to make a pass. That was poorly executed defensively in transition by Buffalo.
Passed up a 3, gave it to Regan instead. He can't hit. Way up in the air, it's tapped. And it's a foul, it looks like, will be called against Raheem Johnson of Buffalo. Third team foul called on the Bulls here in the first half.
Buffalo is the #1 offensive rebounding team in the conference. So far, the Chippewas doing a nice job of locating and boxing guys out and limiting them to one shot. And here's one of those mismatches we were talking about because of all the switching that Buffalo is doing.
Simmons down the lane, fouled on the floor. It looks like that will be on Johnson once again. That's his second. But Chris Fowler off to a good start for the Chips.
He is so good in transition. Look, eyes up, reading, trying to find the gap, attacking it, and a beautiful finish off the glass.
Alfonso Ellis, Bob Wischusen. 3-point lead for Central Michigan and Buffalo. Fonz, as we take a look at the Fonz Focus, has some very important keys in your mind to try and pull off this win tonight.
Yeah, for Buffalo to win it, they have to keep this CMU team to 10 threes or less. In their first game, they gave up 16 threes to the Chippewas. Second game, only 6, which was a 1-point game. And they have to limit the opportunities for Chris Fowler. Keep him at his average, which is 16 or below. Chris Fowler off to a great start with 8 here in the first half.
Sean Simmons backs it up. Buffalo had beaten Central Michigan 6 straight times before this year, but the Chippewas took both head-to-head meetings in the regular season. Fowler fakes a 3. Leans in, found Meyer, who fumbled the pass, but then regathered and was able to bank it home.
And because of the switching that's going on the floor, Justin Moss ended up on Fowler. Fowler taking him off the dribble, sucks in the defense, and is creating those angles for him to kick out for threes and to kick it inside to Cutters. That time inside to the Cutter. That is terrific recognition on the offensive end for the Chippewas. Got to give Moss a touch in here. It's been a while. He's not had any touches down in the low post. Buffalo's got to get him the ball.
Back outside. Instead it goes to Wigginton, and he's too strong with the jumper.
Central Michigan will take the Buffalo shooting jump shots tonight.
Simons from NBA range comes up short, way up in the air. Goes Bearden for the rebound. Here comes the freshman. Leaves it for Evans, who weaves his way through traffic. Throws up a wild one. That's no good. But a charity hop for Will Regan right into his hands. And the easy putback to make it a 3-point game.
And this is where they're so good, Buffalo. They are outstanding on the offensive glass. About 10 offensive rebounds a game in conference play.
Buffalo had missed 5 straight shots before that putback by Regan.
Check that, 14 offensive rebounds per game in conference play.
Well, last night they had 17 in the win over Akron. Whew. Shot clock under 10. Sean Simmons steps back along 2. A chance for a run out for Shannon Evans.
Love the push.
Sets up Bearden. He's short. Foul called on Simmons, though, grabbing the arm of Will Regan, who had position inside. And a night of madness wraps up tonight in Las Vegas. Oregon meets number 5 Arizona. It's the Pac-12 championship game presented by New York Life. Champ Week presented by Dick's Sporting Goods tonight at 11 Eastern on ESPN.
Arizona's defense is so good. I'm concerned about them being able to corral Joseph Young, because Joe Young is the guy for Oregon. And if you can control him and neutralize him, you beat Oregon.
If Arizona wins that game, would you make them a 1 seed and pull Duke out?
I would. With Duke losing to Notre Dame, a team that was expected to win the ACC Conference Championship, Tournament Championship, and they go down, I think Arizona should move up to that 1 line.
Without Virginia making it to the championship game in the ACC, Joe Lunardi already projects that Virginia will drop down to the 2 line, and Wisconsin takes their place. And you wonder if the same might happen to Duke if Arizona wins. Grayson from the corner. He's got a triple. Braylon Rayson hits a 3, and the Chippewas extend to a 6-point lead.
And Bob, all that is happening again because of the switches that are taking place on the floor. Buffalo ending up with their bigs on some of the guards, and they're making smart decisions by driving and kicking.
Now a chance for 3 for Jaron Skeet. He's fouled in the corner by Rayshawn Simmons.
Watch what the dribble penetration does. That was actually a ball screen that time, and he's got down in the gap, sucks that defense in, makes it too long of a run to get down to the corner. Braylon racing, knocking it down.
So each team here in the first half fouling the other while shooting a three. But Skeet, a 79% free throw shooter, misses the first. You wonder as this game moves on for a team like Buffalo how the pressure builds. The school has never been to an NCAA tournament. They've come close. They've been in the MAC championship game a couple of times before this year. They shared the MAC regular season title with Central Michigan and Kent State, but Central Michigan, having beaten Buffalo head-to-head twice, got the 1 seed. So the Chippewas are guaranteed at least a bid in the NIT. If Buffalo doesn't win this game tonight, they'll be in the NIT field. There's no question about that. But for a school that's never been to the tournament, it would be sweet to get there.
It would be sweet to get there, and I don't think they're experiencing much pressure. The pressure is really, oh, wow, that was a whole, you see him grab a jersey there?
That was easy for Duran Scott down the lane.
They're having a tough time, Buffalo, right now with those little brush screens that are creating angles for guys to get to the cup. But I was saying earlier that I think the pressure is all on the Chippewas. What's happening right now is Buffalo is not playing at their tempo. On misses and makes, this is a team that really likes to push the basketball and look to get early opportunities. They've not done that this first half with any consistency.
Tough fadeaway three goes down for Jaron Skeet.
It's a confidence booster right there. Jaron Skeet is their best three-point shooter percentage-wise.
Grayson drives it right at Moss. Scott with an offensive rebound. And Duran Scott will shoot free throws when we come back.
Jaron Skeet, 8 of 16 from the three-point line over the last 2 regular season games, but 0 for 4 last night. A big confidence booster here in the first half for that young man.
All right, Chris, thanks very much. This really is, in the MAC, a win-in-your-in situation for Buffalo and Central Michigan. The loser of this game is undoubtedly heading to the NIT, so no chance for a bid stealer here. But you start to look, Fonz, at those last few in Joe Lunardi's first 4 out, next 4 out. A team like Indiana, they cannot be enjoying a bid stealer situation when you're watching a team like Wyoming possibly slide into the field when you think San Diego State is in there as well. It's got to be a tough night to be on the bubble as a big conference team and watch some of those results come in.
Oh, without a doubt. I remember my second season back in '89, just sitting there and waiting for your name to be called. And I tell you what, you're sweating, literally sweating, waiting for your name to be called. And when it's called, man, wow, what a feeling of elation at that point. But to your point, Indiana has to be uncomfortable right now. This game right now is being played at a Central Michigan pace.
And that ball sent into the Central Michigan cheerleaders by their freshman forward, Duran Scott.
Duran Scott can really get off the ground, folks. Watch how he comes in and protects the painted area. Get that out of here. And that's exactly what Big should do. That painted area, we patrol that. You don't allow those little guys to come in there and bank that off the glass. Good reaction there by Duran Scott.
Last season, Central Michigan was not just last in the MAC in block shots per game, they were last in America in block shots per game. So they recruited Duran Scott, Luke Meyer, a couple of freshman bigs to at least provide some presence in the middle.
They're setting some wicked screens mismatch here. That basketball should go inside to 23.
Instead, Fowler drives it, gives it up to 23, and Scott pulls the string. Up in the air for the rebound is Justin Moss, and just to see him get off the deck was a good sign for Buffalo. That's about as high as he jumped at any point during last night's game.
Yeah, they got to get him some touches down the box, though. Not even looking at him right now.
Ford is fouled.
And Bob, this is a concern that I have about the Buffalo Bulls. We talked about it last night. At times, they can play really random and out of control. The last 3 possessions have been poor possessions for this Buffalo team, just kind of driving and wildly throwing the basketball at the basket. They have to play a little bit more under control.
Xavier Ford last night had a terrific game, a double-double, 17 points and 11 rebounds. The reason it was so important was because Justin Moss, the player of the year in the MAC, has that bone bruise on his ankle, suffered that in practice on Wednesday, and he really just looks like a shell of himself. You can see last night, 23 minutes, he barely got off the floor. 5 points, 4 rebounds. He was just a big body clogging the middle. None of that explosive athletic ability, Fonz, that normally goes along with his 240-pound frame. Are you seeing any signs tonight that it looks like he's moving a little bit better and might be a bigger factor as the game goes on?
No, he's moving exactly like he was moving last night, just kind of slightly jogging up and down the floor. What I do see him doing is trying to post hard down low, and his guard's got to find him and get him to rock down low.
As Meyer turns it over. So watching Justin Moss, again, #1 in the MAC in scoring and #1 in the MAC in rebounding. Averages nearly 18 points and over 9 rebounds per game. But Buffalo, for the most part, is trying to win this MAC tournament without their best player being a factor.
Yeah, and they've used him a couple times as a passer. He has 2 assists in this game, but being a big guy like that with a low base, you don't need to be able to elevate to score in the post. You can use your size to wedge here and be able to finish at the basket.
He was calling for it, but you see he got stuck under the rim, just doesn't have the lift off of that injured ankle. That would have made that bucket probably a routine dunk during the regular season.
Yeah, he was a little bit underneath the basket as well.
From the corner, a 3 goes down for Blake Hibbets.
And that time, instead of taking advantage of the bigs guarding the guards, dribble penetration sucked Moss in, and because of his ankle injury, can't quite close out with the speed that he normally does, creating that open shot from the corner.
Goes in the post again to Moss. Lost it, found it again, has it stripped away, and it will stay with Buffalo.
I think that's the best I've seen him leap now in 2 days. He actually got off the ground to go get that one. Not nearly the explosion that we've seen him have, but I like the early activity. Could be more to come in the second half. Because in order for Buffalo to win this game, Justin Moss has to be a factor.
Foul now called on the cut. It looks like Josh Kozinski of the Chippewas will get called for the personal. If you're Bobby Hurley, though, last night he was able to massage his way through the game and get 23 minutes from Justin Moss. Where's that line between he is the player of the year, and it's nice to have a big body out there, but his lack of athleticism is hurting us?
Yeah, I think you have to wait and see, because right now, again, with him posting so hard, and if he catches it, he draws some attention, and can you get it to the weak side of the floor? And I was going to say, this guy has to have a huge night, as he did last night, to help his teammate out.
Well, Xavier Ford just keeps on knocking 3s down. Buffalo will be just fine. And once again, it's the penetration of Chris Fowler that gets the star point guard for the Chippewas to the line.
But the heavy post on the inside, you have 2 guys down there, and they're just kind of staring, which is allowing Xavier Ford to get some really nice opportunities, good looks at the basket, and he's shooting that basketball with a lot of confidence. Only 14 made 3s in the regular season, but he shot that basketball with some confidence tonight and last night.
Wigginton back in, replacing Skeet for Buffalo. Chris Fowler, not only a nearly 1,300-point career scorer at Central Michigan, but also #1 all-time in Chippewas history in assists, and now he is in double figures for the 25th time this season.
Tremendous leader, 3-time captain as well.
Moss faces up. Can't hit the jumper.
I think if he's going to do that, Bob, he's got to catch that thing maybe 5 to 6 feet off the box. A little too deep that time.
Fowler just about goes coast to coast. Moss has the rebound.
Got to push here. Take advantage of that athleticism that they have on the wings.
Evans kicks it out to Wigginton. He drives it and turns it over.
I thought he should have taken that shot. Had Xavier Ford, 35 in black, on the weak side in good rebounding position.
Braylon racing down the lane. That's blocked by Evans.
If you're Buffalo right now, especially the coaching staff, they cannot be pleased with the pace of this game. It is way too slow, playing into the hands of the Chippewas.
giveaway, though, by the Chippewas. Back the other way comes Bearden. Swoops in, scores, plus the foul. A chance for a three-point play for Lamonte Bearden.
And folks, that's exactly what I've been talking about. This team is a team that get out and run. It's in their DNA. They're so much better offensively in terms of their efficiency when they're pushing it off made and missed baskets. That was beautifully executed. Nice little outlet pass, allowing a very quick and slick Lamonte Bearden to get to the rim.
Lamonte Bearden, it seems as if, has become exactly what a coach would want a freshman to be. And that is, when he gets to the end of the season, he's no longer a freshman. He's been in double figures 9 times this season, but 3 out of the last 4 games, including scoring 10 points and grabbing 7 rebounds in the semifinal win last night over Akron. So he's a freshman, but he's playing like a sophomore or a junior the deeper into the season that Buffalo gets.
And to your point, Bob, first 9 games, 3 turnovers per game. Last 5, only 1.
Fowler comes up short. Shannon Evans underneath to Moss, and he's got a chance for a 3-point play. The first big impact moment of the game for the player of the year in the MAC, Justin Moss.
And folks, the Buffalo Bulls, the #1 fastest paced team in the league. These are the kind of plays they need to make. The big fella finishing around the rim.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by the Principal Financial Group. We'll give you an edge.
All right, Chris, thanks very much. And we've been told that Joey Brackets has just come out with a new bracketology, changing around last 4 in, first 4 out, next 4 out. And there's a team from a power conference that's not going to be happy with what he thinks is going to happen on Selection Sunday. So stay tuned. At halftime, you'll hear more about this. But now look at Temple has made it to the last 4 in. And now, according to Joe Lunardi, he has Indiana as one of the first 4 out.
Now, with the accuracy that Joe Lunardi projects these with, initially Indiana had a little light lather. Right now they are soaking wet.
For Hoosier fans, just Joe Lunardi is not 100% correct, though, in his history. He's like 98.5% correct.
Exactly.
So you have a 1.5% chance that he's wrong about Indiana being on the wrong side of the bubble. Grayson steps into the elbow. Moss again gets off the floor to grab a rebound. It seems as if he's showing more and more athleticism as the first half goes on.
When you have those sprained ankles that way, the more you play, your adrenaline gets to going and it warms up, then it loosens up. This is a great sign for the Bulls. Now let's see if they can throw it into him to give him an opportunity to go to work.
The lob instead, the throw down by Wigginton. Great vision from the freshman Lamonte Bearden.
Did you see how he hung in the air and caught that one? My goodness. It's almost like he levitated for a second and took a picture before he threw that thing down.
Grayson, straightaway 3, comes up short, and Deron Scott is called for a Central Michigan foul.
Definitely a Sports Center top 10. You can't quite see it there. That little post-up action on the interior, the little back screen. No one communicated there, and that basketball is up, and he's one of the most athletic guys on this team. Ronell Wigginton throwing it down. But you know what, Bob? The momentum of this game changed 3 possessions ago on missed shots when Buffalo started to push that basketball out and get in transition. Bearden got a layup. Next time down, they were able to get Justin Moss under the basket for a quick one. And the complexion of this game changed when they started to push the tempo. This is the kind of tempo that Buffalo needs to play with to win this game.
In a little over 90 seconds, if Shannon Evans can knock down this free throw, it would complete a 10-0 Buffalo run to extend to a 5, maybe a 6-point lead. They've had points now on 4 straight possessions, and they'll shoot the double bonus the rest of the first half. That was the 9th team foul on Central Michigan, so the next will be their 10th.
And for Central Michigan, when they find these bigs off from the guards, they got to attack.
Meyer steps back and deads it against the backboard and gets the friendly roll.
Xavier Ford ended up on Fowler, a little mismatch, able to take him off the bounce, and you drew all those guys in, and the pitch back was created by that drive. They've got to do more of that here in the second half. I mean, the first half, excuse me.
Bearden lost it and then commits the foul. That'll be a 1-and-1 at the other end for Fowler. That's team foul number 7 on the Bulls.
It's 2 times now in this first half that Fowler has been able to take the basketball from Lamont Bearden. He's got to do a better job of taking care of that basketball. He's usually really good with it. Again, last 5 games, only 1 turnover per game.
Chris Fowler, 1-and-1.
Chris Fowler, if there's a weakness in his game, and it's a small one, only 67% at the free throw line. This is a 1-and-1. Now, talking to Keno Davis about his point guard, and you touched on the leadership topic earlier, but he talked about the intangible that leadership is with Fowler. He said, you know, when you look at a leader, does he lead by example or does he lead vocally? Well, in his opinion, the great ones do both.
Yeah.
And he thinks they do both. As Kaczynski tries a 3 that won't go after John Simons was able to rebound the free throw miss.
We're fortunate on that play. No one ran out to cover him. We got a wide open look there. I'd say right now, with the way Moss is going, give him another touch. Roll him off ball screens or straight post him.
Skeet hit the side of the backboard. Saves it, though, to Ford. He can't hit. The follow, though, is good with Wigginton crashing the offensive glass.
Buffalo, the #1 offensive rebounding team in the league, really asserting themselves on the offensive glass.
Fowler drives it, pulls up, knocks it down.
And Bob, we continue to say in the half-court offense for the Chippewas, they have to continue to drive the basketball. Buffalo has not been able to contain Fowler off the bounce.
Ford from the elbow. That comes up short.
Thought he could have kept going to the rim on that one.
Fowler bullets one underneath. Meyer hangs and hits. And that's a 2-for-1 for Central Michigan as well, with about a 5-second differential between the shot clock and the game clock, as Bobby Hurley will call the timeout that Buffalo can't take with them to the second half. So we'll step aside for 30 seconds and come back to the shot clock and the game clock. So Buffalo might be able to hold for the final shot of the half, but their lead is now 1.
And folks, this is why I love the early push. The early push draws so many eyes to the basketball, and you lose sight of guys on the backside. Luke Meyer putting himself in perfect position to be a receiver to finish that play. Beautifully executed there by the Chippewas. This will be a high ball screen to try to get Shannon Evans, 11 in black, in the gap.
Shot clock down to 7. Evans uses the screen. Shot clock at 3. Gives it up. Unable to throw it down was Xavier Ford, but he was fouled. Coming over to help was Luke Meyer, but he commits the foul with 3.5 seconds to go in the half. That's the second on Meyer, so Ford will shoot 2.
Bob, I've been really impressed with Shannon Evans' poise when he gets into the gap. Oftentimes you see guards, they'll take that shot, but his eyes being up, he could see Xavier Ford making a little cut to the basket. Nice patience by that young man.
Shannon Evans, according to Bob Hurley, is the kind of player that plays with a chip on his shoulder, that Napoleon complex.
Yeah.
Kind of sounds like the head coach.
Yeah.
He must see a little bit of himself in Evans and how Evans is able to play. Here comes Fowler trying to beat the halftime buzzer. Straightaway 3. That's off the mark, and it's a 3-point game at halftime. Chris Fowler is the only player, Fonz, from either team in double figures. He had 13 in the first half. A great first 20 minutes, but he'll need some help in the second half.
He will. He did a really nice job of getting into the gap and scoring for himself and finding guys open.
Time for the Heroes Charge halftime report. Standing by with Dan Dockage and Miles Simon. Let's go back to Chris Scott. You're watching ESPN's Championship Week, presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. Welcome back to Cleveland. Another automatic bid to the NCAA tournament is on the line in the MAC championship game, just about set for the start of the second half between Buffalo and Central Michigan. Bob Wischusen and LaFonso Ellis. We've got a three-point game. Central Michigan right in it with Buffalo. A big reason why. They've got a point guard, Chris Fowler, that played like a star in the first half. 13 points, 5 assists, no turnovers.
He was absolutely magnificent, really attacking the gap. 6 penetrations to the basket, 4 field goals. He is so good. Keeps his eyes on the rim anytime he's on the attack, and he looks for angles to get by. Has excellent body control. A guy with 5 assists to go along with those points. But on the Buffalo side, they needed someone to step up in the absence of Justin Moss. Xavier Ford to the rescue yet again after a huge night last night. 2 of 3 from the three-point line. 11 points in the first half for that young man. But in order for Buffalo to win this game, Moss has to get involved in the offense, and they have to continue to attack the offensive glass as a group.
Central Michigan won both of the regular season matchups between these two teams and trailed at halftime in both of the regular season matchups. They surrendered 8 offensive rebounds in the first half as Moss fumbles the entry, gathers, and that's blocked inside by Luke Meyer. Saved underneath, and it goes over to Central Michigan. So this is, unfortunately, to a certain extent for Central Michigan, familiar territory. They've dug themselves a smaller hole into the second half of this championship game than they did back in January or on Valentine's Day. But they hit 8 of 11 second half threes at Buffalo to come from 13 down at halftime and win on Valentine's Day. And now it's Fowler going back to the line to try and make it a one-point game in the championship game.
Well, Bob, this is something that we saw in the first half. As I mentioned, Buffalo switching 1 through 5. Their bigs are ending up on Fowler and Rayson, the guards, the perimeter players from the Chippewas. They should continue to attack them off the bounce and get to the gap. That's exactly what Chris Fowler just did on that play.
Justin Moss was called for the foul. That's his first. It's the 4th Buffalo foul that has been drawn by Fowler. He had 26 points in the win over Toledo last night to get his team to the championship game. And he already has 15 points tonight, and he makes it a one-point game.
He's the only player on this current Chippewa team that has been in this position and playing on this floor. I'll tell you what, the way he's played this game, he looks like it.
Bearden gives it up to Moss, floats to the basket, comes up short, and Simons has the rebound.
Moss has to go ahead and take that jump shot. He can make that 15-footer. Good eyes.
Meyer got caught under the backboard and has to flip it back up top to Simons. Should have been an easy 2 for Luke Meyer, but it's almost as if he lost where he was on the floor when he caught that pass from Fowler.
That's why I teach young kids to do the Mikan drill, which is the little hook drill from that angle, facing the opposite basket so you don't get uncomfortable when you catch it under the rim. I like this. This mismatch has been here all night long. Let's see if he can capitalize.
Meyer leans in, banks it home, and Central Michigan has the lead.
Bob, that's another one of those situations where the Chippewas did a nice job of finding where the mismatch was on the floor. If they can be patient against it offensively, there's mismatches off the bounce and in the post. That time in the post. Beautifully executed by the Chippewas.
Evans for 3. Buffalo's right back on top.
How confident is Shannon Evans? My goodness. There's another switch here.
Fowler goes at Moss with the left hand high off the window, no good. And Evans pushes the other way. Lost it. And can't save it.
How about the effort?
The ESPN Bracketology Special. Everything you need to know about the field of 68. We'll tell you who's going to make a deep run and if anyone can stop Kentucky. The ESPN Bracketology Special presented by Staples tomorrow at 7 with live Sports Center updates at 5:30 on ESPN.
Is that a rhetorical question? Because if it's not, no. There's not a team out there.
You don't even give Arkansas a puncher's chance.
Not even a puncher's chance.
Not even a puncher's chance.
No, not. They're playing at a high level. Now all of a sudden the Harrison twins are starting to knock down shots. Tyler Eulis has been rock solid all year long. Devin Booker can shoot it. And that's the concern comparing last year to this year is would Kentucky be able to shoot the basketball well from the perimeter? They've answered that bell. Willie Cauley-Stein with a phenomenal day today. What is it with these three name guys? Bryce Design Jones, Willie Cauley-Stein.
Shannon Evans called for that foul. LaFonso Ellis. Grayson drives it. A lot of contact, no foul called. The Central Michigan sideline can't believe it. We were talking with Rick Pitino about Kentucky and what makes them so good. As we take another look at this drive by Rayson. And it certainly looked like the body may have been there for Raheem Johnson.
Should be a shooting foul.
Fowler kicks it to the corner. Rainbow threes, an air ball tapped around and ends up with Buffalo.
Got to push here.
Here comes Bearden, and he draws the foul. So Bearden will go to the line as Fowler had position but couldn't take the charge. But again, talking with Rick Pitino about Kentucky, and he said if you can't stop their guards getting into the lane, then you have no chance. You have to be able to stop their guards because whoever's got the ball, if they get into the painted area, you've got these 2 7-foot monsters on either side of the rim. I mean, that's it. It's Katie bar the door. So is there a team that you think defensively would at least have a chance to keep their guards in front of them so that Cauley-Stein, they wouldn't be the factor around the basket that they've been all year?
When I think of defensive-minded teams with perimeter players that can guard 1 through 3, I think of Arizona. The problem is I don't know if Arizona can guard their bigs on the interior. Karl Anthony Towns is having himself an absolute year. The guy can shoot it from the outside. They can throw it to him on the inside. Another guy with a hyphenated name, by the way. And just for the record, Bob, there's no hyphen in LaFonso. Capital P.
It's the capital P that throws it. Grayson, that's rejected inside. Ends up with Meyer, though, who rises up and throws it down.
Tell you what, I've been really impressed with Luke Meyer. The freshman is playing some huge minutes tonight. I thought that was a foul, though.
Now he calls. Is called for the foul as Raheem Johnson got loose underneath, and Meyer was late to rotate over.
Luke Meyer, true freshman, started every game inside, outside kind of guy that can really run the floor. His minutes have gone down as of late due to his inability to finish and rebound on the inside, but he's been active tonight for the Chippewas.
And that's Meyer's 3rd foul. So he goes to the bench in double figures for only the 6th time this season, replaced by Deron Scott. Evans down the lane, fades away, but travel.
Yeah, you could hear it as he was trying to come to a jump stop. It was like a pop, pop, pop. And I would consider that to be a travel, my friend. Again, a big on the small here. Scott was open.
Fowler is fouled. A reach-in call on Xavier Ford.
And that's what Chris Fowler can do all half long. When he finds those bigs out on him, he can take his time and line them up and try to get into the painted area where he's been terrific tonight.
Timeout called as Fowler couldn't inbound it on the baseline.
The exchange is defensively really good for Buffalo.
Keno Davis called that timeout from the sideline. A 1-point game in the MAC championship here in Cleveland. It's greatness with the pass and greatness in the scoring class. This is your game. NBA Countdown tips tomorrow at 12:30 before Pau Gasol's Bulls take on Russell Westbrook and the Thunder at 1. And then MVP candidate James Harden meets CP3, DeAndre Jordan in Lob City at 3:30. That's tomorrow on ABC.
Glass pass in class. Did you make that up?
You wrote it.
Oh, that's pretty good. Left-handed, too.
Bob Wischusen alongside the lyricist, LaFonso Ellis. 4 minutes gone by in the second half of this championship game of the MAC. And there's a takeaway for Shannon Evans. Lobs it. Raheem Johnson couldn't finish it. Ends up with Evans. An offensive rebound for Ford.
They do a terrific job, Buffalo, especially Xavier Ford, of finding the angle to the offensive glass. He told us yesterday in the press conference that coach doesn't run into plays for him, and yet he's still able to find ways to score. That's 13 points in this game now for Xavier Ford.
Another lob attempt. That one can't be finished by Scott, but he gets the putback and the foul. Deron Scott with a chance for a three-point play.
I love the passion that Deron Scott plays with. An unbelievably quick second jump. The lob denied, but still has the presence of mind to come up with it. Going up strong, the bump, the arm, the finish.
Of the NCAA basketball tournament, he's the only player to start in 4 consecutive Final Fours. He had looks, smarts, and game. So why has Christian Laettner been disliked for so long? Maybe it was the time he stomped on the chest of a down player, or his perceived sense of entitlement, but sometimes perception isn't reality. ESPN Films 30 for 30. I Hate Christian Laettner tomorrow at 9 on ESPN, presented by Volkswagen TDI. And there is Christian Laettner's arguably best known teammate. Got to figure he and Grant Hill, along with Bobby Hurley, the best remembered players from that Duke championship team, won back-to-back championships in 91 and 92.
I was 0 for 5 against that Duke team while I was in college. Christian Laettner and I the same class. And look at the superlatives of Bobby Hurley.
1,076 career assists. An NCAA record by about 30 over Chris Corchiani. To put that in perspective, Chris Fowler has 524 assists now, including tonight, for Central Michigan. He's #1 in Chippewa history with 524 assists. Bobby Hurley has 1,076 assists. So all Fowler has to do is double what he's done so far.
It helped that he had some NBA guys on his team to pass it to.
Many NBA finishers.
Christian Laettner.
Spinning and rolling it home is Wigginton. 8 points for Wigginton. Last night, he had a tremendous game off the bench, 11 points and 8 rebounds in the semifinal win over Akron.
He's one of those guys that does so many things for this Bulls team. Can beat you off the bounce, got a nice mid-range shot. Wow.
Fowler threw it away.
Big one looking there.
Bearden goes coast to coast, but comes up short. Hit the underside of the rim. A chance for Rayson to break back. Simons leans in, draws the foul. He leaned into Will Regan, and Regan is called for the foul.
You have to be so disciplined on your closeouts when you're closing out to John Simons. He's always looking to size you up, seeing if you're off balance. But you know what? I hate those calls, and I'll tell you why. The offensive player should not be given the opportunity to jump into a defensive player, especially in a case like that, where the defensive player was clearly on the side of him.
So that should have been a no call.
A no call or an offensive foul at that, but at minimum a no call.
The second time tonight that John Simons has been fouled while shooting a 3. That's his first miss at the line.
See, some people hate Christian Laettner. I hate that call.
Did you hate Christian Laettner?
No, you know, he and I go all the way back. We had the privilege of being McDonald's All-Americans and Parade All-Americans together in high school, played against each other 4 years at Duke and several years in the NBA. I loved his competitive spirit and his toughness and have nothing but respect for him. Now, we both tried to kill each other when we played against each other, but nothing but mutual respect for each other because of how hard we played the game.
If Buffalo wins, for the first time ever, they would be in the NCAA tournament. As knocking down a 3 is Will Regan. If Central Michigan wins, it would be their first trip to the NCAA tournament since 2003.
Miscommunication there defensively from the Chippewas led to that open 3.
7 made threes for Buffalo as they are turning the tables on Central Michigan. Usually it's the Chippewas that light you up from downtown, but Rayson comes up short.
What a nice late challenge there by Bearden. His length bothered that shot. Should continue to look to attack off the bounce if you're Buffalo, but I still think with the way he's moving right now, Justin Moss could use a touch or 2 down in the low post and see how the Chippewas react defensively. A little bit of a 2-3 zone here.
Into the post, leaning in, plus the foul. Justin Moss.
And that is a perfect read on the inside. When you give it to your big, he's one-on-one inside when you can get it into the post with the center. And there's not a guy, very few guys in America that can guard Justin Moss one-on-one down on the low post. It's exactly what we've been asking for here.
Way short on the free throw is Moss. Can't complete the three-point play, but it's a 5-point lead for Buffalo. Hibbets for three. Yes, that's the 5th made three for Central Michigan.
Yeah, I could hear Moss, Justin Moss, 23 in black, asking Skeet to go take that shooter. And the hesitation from Skeet created the lane to be able to knock that shot down. You cannot leave John Simons open. He's too good a shooter.
At three, in and out from Skeet. A chance now for the Chippewas to tie or take the lead. Simons trailing.
Nice job by Justin Moss to close out that shot. See, I think Fowler can take Will Regan right now. Number 2 in black. You got to give him some room to operate, though.
Shot clock under 10. A little hesitation dribble, and Fowler lost it. Shannon Evans waiting for some help.
Good patience.
Instead, he'll drive it. Off the window, he went right around John Simons. 9 for Shannon Evans. He averages a little over 15 a game.
So patient. I love the reads that he makes when he has the basketball in his hands.
Hibbets tries again. That comes up short. Offensive rebound, and the block inside as Moss rejected Simons.
How about that? Justin Moss, maybe 60 to 65% capacity, showing the heart of a Lion to compete because he knows what's on the line, an opportunity to get to an NCAA tournament.
So wants it in the post again. Instead, it's a three. Regan comes up short, and Simons pulls it down.
So usually you can take that shot when Justin Moss is healthy. You can't take that one now.
Kozinski, the quick trigger triple. It's a 1-point game with 11 and a half to go.
I like the pace right now that the Chippewas are playing with because the way they shoot it from the three, they have 5 guys essentially on the floor who can knock it down, really 4. Now it makes you run back to the middle of the paint, and that makes too long of a run to get the three-point shooters. They should try to exploit that a little more here in the second half. Evans
to the corner, stepping inside the three-point line and pulling the string a bit for 2 was Wigginton, and he missed his own putback.
I thought Wigginton should have taken that wide-open three-point shot. Wasn't a guy within 5 feet of him. You got to let that one fly.
Kozinski, too strong. Pulled down by Moss. Here comes Evans. Attacks with the left hand. No. The putback inside is good for Will Regan.
With the way the Bulls attack in transition, particularly when they miss those shots, they draw so much attention to the ball handler that those lanes for offensive rebounds are open. Really nice job by Will Regan reading it.
17 offensive rebounds last night for Buffalo in the semifinal win over Akron. They've got 11 offensive rebounds in the championship game and a 3-point lead. And this place has been rocking tonight in the MAC championship game. Right down the road, Quicken Loans Arena, as we take a look at our tournament challenge resume. Brought to you by Acura and the work that's been done, Fonz, this year by Buffalo. Dan Dockich thought that they were a legit bubble team, and Joe Lenardi had them as part of the next 4 out. But being part of that next 4 out basically means, as respectable as that resume is, they have to win this game tonight to get in the tournament.
Oh, without a doubt. No question about it. But kudos to what Bobby Hurley has been able to do with this team this year. They played a really nice schedule. Coming in here white hot, having won 7 games in a row. Looks like Bobby Hurley's got this program going in the right direction.
If you want to go to ESPN.com, you can and sign up for the tournament challenge. And which of these 2 teams will be playing in the tournament? Central Michigan, the #1 seed for the 4th time in program history, and the first time that they've been the #1 seed in the MAC tournament since 2003. That was their last trip to the NCAA tournament, and Chris Fowler is trying to will them there. He has 17 of their 58.
His body control is off the charts.
Ford straight away, short. Fowler the rebound.
With Moss on the bench right now, Buffalo's got to play with a quicker pace.
Fowler down the lane. The pass for Meyer was deflected by Regan. Back the other way comes Bearden, coast to coast.
It's exactly the pace that we're talking about. Misses and makes. This team is at their best when they're pushing it in transition.
We've had 5 ties to go along with 8 lead changes. Neither team has led by more than 6. So it's been a close game from the start.
Pass wasn't quite on the hands there. Fowler's got to get in the gap. He's got a big Gardner to get Simons out of the way.
And have to put one up. The shot clock winding down to 3.
Nice.
At 3, off the mark for Simmons, but it's a shot clock violation. So a turnover for Central Michigan, and it's a guards game tonight here in Cleveland.
Chris Fowler doing what he does, put it on the deck in beautiful body control, but in order for Buffalo to win this game, they must play with pace. Bearden getting out in transition, and a pretty roll off the glass.
All right, Chris, thanks very much. 3-point game. Buffalo trying to get to the championship, or rather the NCAA tournament for the first time ever. And taking a look at the Fonz focus, these were your 2 keys tonight, and they have not been able to keep Fowler down. They're right on the bubble as to whether or not they're going to hold Central Michigan to 10 threes or less. They've got 6.
And they've got to be able to do both. Fowler has gotten off. Obviously, they've been able to keep them by switching from getting wide open 3-point shots.
Justin Moss draws the foul on the reach-in by Braylon Rayson. So the MAC Player of the Year playing on an injured ankle. Not his usual explosive self. Goes to the line. #1 in the league in scoring and rebounding during the regular season. Had only 5 points in last night's game, and now has only 6 points tonight. So Buffalo is trying to win without their best player at even near 100%.
You got to give a lot of credit to this kid for the guts that he showed last night and that he continues to show. Understands that his presence out there on the floor is an inspiration to his teammates, and they've been playing inspired basketball over the last 2 minutes, really looking to push the tempo and to close out the game. They've got to do it and contain this guy Fowler, something they've not been able to do consistently.
Wigginton forced to foul Fowler again.
As far as the focus is concerned, they've got to do one or the other. They can't let both happen at the same time if they want to win this game.
That's the first on Wigginton, but now you can see Buffalo is out of fouls to give. So Central Michigan will shoot free throws the rest of the way.
And Bob, when you find yourself in the bonus that way, you got to dribble drive the basketball. Another mismatch opportunity that Braylon Rayson, #5 in black, on white rather, missed out on.
Fowler leans in, score the basket, plus the foul again.
I just love when that happens, when you mention something and it happens in that case. You know, you find yourself against a team that's in foul trouble. You should put your head down and just get to the basket. Nobody better in the league at getting to the rim than Chris Fowler. He not only finishes, but he gets to the line, leads the league in that category at 6 free throw attempts per game.
Can't hit the free throw. That foul on Shannon Evans, his second. Still 2 fouls to give for Central Michigan. They only have 4 here in the second half. So we'll see how that plays out over the last 8 minutes.
I think Buffalo cannot forget about Moss.
Evans rolls home a straightaway 3. And the lead back up to 6.
How good has he been, and the confidence that he's shown tonight to knock down the 3 ball. 38% from 3 on the year. Bob, he was 58% from 3 over 6 games until last night. He went 0 for 4.
Simons down the lane, lays it up and in.
Beautiful movement away from the ball for Simons.
Just the game we expected. Neither team has led by more than 6. Evans, a little ball fake, rolls it home.
The Chippewas cannot continue to go under the ball screen against Buffalo. They've been blitzing them from the three-point line and off the drive. Shannon Evans having himself a couple of minutes here.
Fowler connects again.
Bob, you said it earlier. This is a guard game. They are going back and forth, toe-to-toe with each other. Fowler and Shannon Evans.
15 for Evans, 19 for Fowler. A little too strong, Evans. There's the putback for Justin Moss. Another chance for a three-point play. Justin Moss is giving Buffalo everything that he's got.
Shannon Evans doing it in every way. How about the pretty little fake to get to the rim? And the best offensive rebounding team in this league, Justin Moss, exercising underneath.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Dick's Sporting Goods. Sport begs of you this one simple question: who will you be?
Who will hold the MAC championship hardware tonight? It's been nothing but Ohio teams alternating, other than Western Michigan last season. Akron and Ohio sharing the previous 4. And this is the first time since 1995 that the MAC championship game has not had at least one Ohio-based team playing in it, as Buffalo takes on Central Michigan. Buffalo has never been to the NCAA tournament. And most importantly for Central Michigan, you know, you make it sound, Fonz, as if they went in 2003. It's not that long ago. Well, the kids on this team, they were in grammar school in 2003. So these players for Central Michigan have never been to the NCAA tournament either. So it's just as important for them as it is for Buffalo to try and break an entire school history streak of not making it to the tournament.
And they both are playing like it. Moss did a really nice job on that injured ankle, keeping Fowler in front.
Racing, strong drive. And the Chippewas are back within 4.
The game plan has been perfect over the last 2 minutes here for the Chippewas, looking to attack off the break. Beautifully done defensively, covering all the guys and not allowing an entry pass on that play.
30 seconds.
The pressure from the Chippewas forces a timeout by Buffalo, but they have 3 remaining even after that one.
Central Michigan being so smart, so wise here down the stretch, knowing that they have the bonus, putting their heads down and getting to the rack. That's exactly what you should do when you find yourself in this situation. Tell you what, though, Bob, the key to this game, especially in the second half for Buffalo, has been their ability to push the pace. They've been able to get some easy ones in transition, along with Shannon Evans knocking down some timely threes. But for a team like the Chippewas, who rely on the three-point shot to win games, they've held them to 2 of 6 here in the second half from the three-point line. Much of that done by switching anytime they have exchanges. So Central Michigan willing to give up tough 2s, but not willing to give up, the Buffalo Bulls willing to give up tough 2s, but not willing to give up the 3s. They've been executing that well here in the second half. Nice shot fake.
Back outside to 4. Line drive 3 goes down. It's the largest lead for Buffalo, up to 7.
Nice job replacing and finding the hole. Switches have been great, shoulder to shoulder. Exactly how it should be. Not giving them any airspace to get three-point shots off.
Fowler gives it up, and Hibbets gets a dunk on the baseline as once again Chris Fowler gets in the lane and draws attention.
He does so well when he gets in the gap, when he draws the secondary defender, keeping his eyes up and knowing exactly where his teammate is. Beautifully executed.
He has 7 assists.
Nice pass.
Stripped away, though, by Simmons, as Justin Moss took the pass from Evans but couldn't finish.
right now in the half court offensively, Buffalo is getting anything they want. They're getting threes because the Chippewas are going under, giving up dribble penetration as well. The Bulls have been on that offensive glass as well.
Spinning and throwing it up a little too hard as Moss, but another offensive rebound is there for Ford.
And Bob, that's what the dribble penetration does. The secondary defender comes over. You don't get anyone filling down in the hole to take someone off the offensive glass. And again, you're talking about the #1 offensive rebounding team in the league. The Bulls have been executing perfectly in that area.
Ford with a little head fake dribble. Fouled on the floor on his way to the goal. Simmons called for the Central Michigan foul.
Folks, watch the little spin move in here. No one comes down in the hole to take 35. Xavier Ford off the glass, and that's what he does so well. He's been knocking down the 3 ball here tonight, but he is outstanding on the offensive glass, creating second chance opportunities for the Bulls.
Rayshawn Simmons back on the Central Michigan bench with 4 fouls. That's the 6th team foul. So now both teams are out of fouls to give. We'll shoot free throws for the last 4.5 minutes.
It's important that Central Michigan right now take a stand defensively and keep this Buffalo Bulls team out of the lane. Dribble penetration has created open shots on the weak side and created angles to get to the offensive glass for the Bulls.
Perfect for Jaron Skeet. Buffalo has now gone 18 possessions and 12.5 minutes without a turnover. Their offensive execution has been terrific. And Fowler, he's been just as good. And he draws another foul. And Chris Fowler goes back to the line. That's on Xavier Ford.
And this is what we've been talking about. They're getting anything they want, the Bulls, on the offensive end. A little fade screen, creating a little separation there. Josh Kaczynski not getting out and covering it properly, creating an open gap to be able to knock that shot down for Skeet. You know what, Bob? When I played in the league, when we played against Houston, we played Hakeem Olajuwon, somebody who you couldn't stop this way. We would let him get 50 or 60, but we would shut everyone else out. That's exactly what the Buffalo Bulls are doing right now. They're willing to give Chris Fowler challenge layups at the rim, sacrificing the 3-point shots for that. That is a great game plan right now from Coach Bobby Hurley.
Evans races and commits an offensive foul. Shannon Evans turns it over, and he's shaken up. The second team all-MAC point guard with a bad decision, an offensive foul, and maybe an injury.
Yeah, tweaked that ankle. Ouch.
That could be big in the last 4 minutes.
Michael Holyfield and Sam Houston State getting ready to take on the defending champs in the Southland, Stephen F. Austin. The finals of that conference tournament coming up 16 minutes from now. Bob?
Well, Chris, what a Saturday. We've already sent 7 teams to the NCAA tournament. In addition to the MAC championship game, which we're calling right now, 7 more teams set to go tonight. Who'll go between Buffalo and Central Michigan in the MAC title game here in Cleveland? Well, Buffalo with a big advantage. They just grabbed the rebound. They've got a 7-point lead. Bob will shoot it. Alfonso Ellis, 3.5 minutes to go, and now the Chippewas have to get some stops.
That was not a good shot from Chris Fowler.
Moss misses inside.
I like this pace. There's a really nice job by Lamonte Bearden, #1 in black, taking away that trigger from John Simons.
Fowler goes to work again and scores again.
Now that's better. He shot a 3-point shot the last possession down the floor, and why? They've been able to get to the basket every time that they've tried. No jump shots right now for Chippewa. Get to the basket. Got numbers.
Another little ball fake, beautifully executed by Shannon Evans. And if you're a Buffalo fan, you have to love seeing the point guard after the ankle tweak able to walk it off during our break and get right back on the floor.
It is amazing how that move freezes the defense.
Fowler again. Rolls it off the rim, and Moss is fouled.
How good has Shannon Evans been tonight? Knocking down the three ball, pushing it in transition, and that little freeze move there freezes the defense, gives them the angle to the basket. I've been really impressed by his poise, his patience, and his confidence offensively. Rondo move in it. That's pretty nice.
Moss back to the line. That was team foul number 7 on the Chippewas, so it's a 1-and-1.
Bob, it may not show up in the numbers for the impact that Justin Moss has had on this game. You know, he's been able to make a few buckets, get a couple offensive rebounds, but just having him out there on the floor, it's really an inspiration to the rest of your teammates, knowing that your best player on the floor is playing hurt, and it really encourages you to give everything you have, and the Bulls are playing like that right now. Nice switch by the Bulls to take away that action.
Fowler to Hibbets. That three's an air ball. Moss jumped out to challenge the shot, and it goes over to Buffalo.
And see, again, that's one of those intangible plays that we're talking about that won't show up in the stat sheets. That is Justin Moss on a bad ankle, closing out what would have been a wide open three-point shot. How about the effort there by Josh Kozinski trying to get that basketball back for his teammates. Hope the cheerleaders are okay over there.
He was a gentleman, immediately apologized.
Midwestern style, nicely done.
We apologize on the East, too. That three goes wide open, knocked down by Jaren Skeet. The largest lead for Buffalo as they extend it up to 9. A three answered at the other end, though, quickly by Rayson. And Keno Davis immediately calls a Chippewas timeout.
Folks, the strength of this Buffalo team is not their three-point shooting, but they have been knocking them down early and often here tonight. That's their 10th made three. We're so used to Central Michigan knocking down the three ball. And it's been a flip of the script tonight for Buffalo.
Champ Week concludes tomorrow on ESPN. 2 title games. First, the SEC championship game, and then a new champion crowned in the American Athletic Conference. Champ Week presented by Dick's Sporting Goods tomorrow at 1 and 3:15 on ESPN.
Bob, how about UConn? Shades of last year. I mean, no one would have expected them to be able to get to the final. They come up with another big win today.
So right after Buffalo had pushed the lead to double digits up to 11 for the first time, that Braylon Rayson three, a huge shot for the Chippewas to cut the lead back to 8 with 2:06 to go.
And Bob, if they want the three, they're going to have to get it in transition because Buffalo, good steal.
And the finish inside by Rayshawn Simmons.
If Central Michigan wants the three, they're going to have to get it in transition. The switching half-court defense of the Buffalo Bulls has taken them completely out of the plays that create open three-point shots for the Chippewas. Run some clock here, and I wouldn't try to attack until 10 or under.
Lamonte Bearden, only a freshman, dribbling down the shot clock for the Bulls. Now he hands it off to Evans, the sophomore. He leans in, blocked, foul call.
You must, when you're playing against him, Shannon Evans, you have to get out and get a good, strong show to turn him back inside. All night long, he's been able to turn the corner, and that exposes your big, and he's done a terrific job of attacking the big when he's gotten an angle.
Evans has 12 of his 17 in the second half, but can't knock down the free throw. He's an 80% free throw shooter, 3rd best in the MAC. Simmons and Austin Stewart both sit down for Central Michigan as they get the three-point shooters back in, and Blake Hibbets and Josh Kozinski. 1 of 2 at the line for Evans.
But for Buffalo defensively, you're willing to give up a 2, continue to switch that action to take away three-point shots, but don't suck in on drives.
Racing from the corner. The long rebound. Kozinski sets up Fowler. Rayson thought about it again. Drives it instead. Draws another foul.
team that's known for their three-point shooting. I've been really impressed with Central Michigan attacking off the bounce, especially once they found out they were in the bonus. They've been putting their heads down, getting to the rim. But you have to give a lot of credit to the Bulls. They've done a really nice job of running them off three-point shots and switching all that action to make sure there's a man on every three-point shooter out there and not giving up any airspace.
These are two excellent free throw shooting teams. Braylon Rayson shoots 90%, although both teams have left a couple of points at the free throw line, more notably for Buffalo. But Buffalo is a team third best in the MAC this season at 73%. And Central Michigan just a percentage point behind in fourth place in the conference at 72%. 5-point game, 1:14 to go.
Same way, Bob. Run some clock here. You may want to take a 5-point game right now. See if they'll play it out and let their defense play here. I wouldn't foul right now.
Tough assignment for Blake Hibbets. Out on Shannon Evans in space. Evans forced the issue with 15 to shoot, and Buffalo turns it over. Why would Shannon Evans drive the ball into the lane with 15 on the shot clock?
And I thought it was a great decision not to foul from Central Michigan. It's a young backcourt. You want to allow your team to play it out. Played in their favor there. Uncharacteristic, poor decision there by Shannon Evans, who's been so good tonight handling the rock.
Buffalo went nearly 13 minutes of this second half without a turnover. They've now turned it over twice in the last minute 10. Fowler. No foul called. Wigginton the rebound. And the Chippewas commit the foul. So Rodell Wigginton will shoot free throws at the other end. Although he's hurt holding that right wrist.
Foul number 34, John Simons. That's his third.
Third foul on John Simons.
Rodell Wigginton is terrific on the move. Excellent athlete, using his length to go and challenge the shot and coming up with that rebound there. A lot of times when you fall down, as you know, to break your fall, the first thing you do is put your hand down. It's not a great thing when you're coming from that angle and as high off the ground as he is. I hope he's okay on the landing, but clearly felt the shock of that landing on that left wrist.
Wigginton only shoots 61%. Way short.
You wonder how much that wrist was a factor in that one. That would be close.
Kaczynski in and out for three. Wigginton's got the rebound again. Draws another foul as Kaczynski has to give it up. That's team foul number 10 on the Chippewas. So now it's the double bonus for Wigginton.
Now it's Josh Kaczynski. His third, team 10.
Tell you the key to this game, particularly in the second half, Bob, has been Buffalo's ability to take away the three-point shot of the Chippewas. They live and die by knocking down the threes with 10 made threes per game, and they've done an excellent job of running them off the shots and switching and taking away those angles.
Way short again is Wigginton.
You can see him kind of flexing that right wrist. You know, I know he's not a great free throw shooter, but when you jam the wrist that way, now you can't get the full flexion back and forward on the release, and oftentimes that shot's short, and it's been the case for him.
In and out. Three straight misses at the line for Wigginton. Still a chance for Central Michigan. Rayson off the mark. Tapped around. The long rebound. Tracked down at midcourt by Evans. Floats it to Bearden. Simons for three. That's off the mark. Tapped out of bounds. 10.9 seconds to go. Just that close to Bobby Hurley taking Buffalo to the tournament for the first time in program history.
Buffalo's defense has been exceptional here in the second half.
Rayson from the corner. Yes! The final timeout called by the Chippewas. 8.7 seconds to go, and it's a 4-point lead for the Bulls.
Boy, they can get that thing off in a hurry.
But now Central Michigan, no more fouls to give and no more timeouts.
They're going to, usually you want to get your guards in the front court and have your best free throw shooters out there on the floor. So I'd imagine Rodell Wigginton will be taken out right now to get a better free throw shooter into the game. And you have to make sure that you secure the basketball, run to it, Bob, and not let the basketball come to you. Make sure your body's running through the basketball to take away the defense's ability to be able to jump the gap.
I would have to think the Chippewas have to completely sell out now and go for a steal.
Without a doubt.
Even if the ball gets inbounded in what is already a 4-point game, it's probably not good enough to even have the ball inbounded and foul.
Yeah, you got to go for the steal right away. And if you don't get it, as you're going for the steal, you got to foul.
Ski can run the baseline. Gets it into Bearden, who's fouled immediately by Rayshawn Simmons, and that will foul Simmons out.
Central Michigan foul number 4, Rayshawn Simmons. Personal foul number 5.
They're going to have to go to the monitor, it looks like, to check the clock to see if any time came off. It's Mike Sanzier and Bill Eck. Will be Eck with the headset on to see how long Bearden had the basketball and how much time should actually be on the clock. As the clock read 8.7 before the ball was inbounded, there's still 8.7 up there.
Let's take a look here. He caught the basketball and the foul came almost immediately.
It probably won't take more than a second off, but when there's only 8.7 seconds to go, if you're Bobby Hurley, take a second off.
That's right. Every second is precious here.
No question, especially against a team like Central Michigan that can shoot the three as instantaneously as they're capable.
Without a doubt.
Wow, they only took 1/10 of a second off the clock.
The ability to knock down your free throws, huge right now. Lamonte Bearden, 75% from the free throw line. So one of the guys that you want on the line. This freshman plays with such confidence.
Now they take it down to 8.4. So they'll say 0.3 of a second came off the clock when Simmons fouled Bearden. That's about as effective as you can be in terms of managing the clock and fouling. Only 0.3 of a second coming off. Buffalo is 1 for their last 6 at the line. The double bonus for the freshman. Make it 1 for 7. Still a 2-possession game.
Keep them in front. Take some time off the clock.
Fowler will go to the rim. Lays it in. 2.4 seconds to go. No timeouts left for the Chippewas. It's a 3-point game. Inbounded and the foul given. Will Regan with 1.3 seconds to go. Does really, you think, Fonz, all that Buffalo needed. And that was get the ball into the court of play and get it advanced to the other end to shoot free throws. With 1.3 seconds left.
Yeah, with Bobby Hurley, smart move, getting Rodale Wigginton off the floor, a poor free throw shooter at 61%, and putting Regan in, who's a 72% free throw shooter.
And that will do it. Buffalo is going to go to the NCAA tournament for the first time in program history.
And Chris Fowler, 15 in white, has been an outstanding player, not only on the year, but tonight, carrying his team, but their inability to knock down the three-point shot. And Buffalo's doing a nice job defensively of taking away the three and forcing this Chippewa team to put it on the deck.
And if there's a hero in the second half for the Buffalo Bulls, especially since they're looking for production with Justin Moss shaken up, Shannon Evans, the point guard, has been terrific.
He has. His decision-making off the charts, reading well. That little freeze move that he has allowed him to get to the gap. He's been outstanding defensively. His decision-making tonight has really been on point, and he's come up with great plays, not only for himself, but for his teammates as well. What a great effort by the sophomore from Suffolk, Virginia.
13 points in the second half for Shannon Evans. The last seconds will tick off, and that will do it. The MAC title and a trip to the NCAA tournament goes to Bobby Hurley and the Buffalo Bulls. is your final. Buffalo survives against Central Michigan. So long from Cleveland. Even more hoops now. Let's go to the Southland Championship game.